Hey everyone, I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission is the lead author of a new book that we have coming out. This is Reverend Dr. Ahriana Platten, and the book is called Rites and Rituals, Harnessing the Power of Sacred Ceremony. Welcome, Ahriana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Always fantastic to see you.
You guys, Ariana is an international speaker, author, and courage builder. She helps people find their purpose and live from it. She's a master ceremonialist and practical mystic, widely appreciated for her authenticity, professional insights, and her transformative coaching skill. Ariana mentors highly motivated individuals and teams who seek to align right livelihood, intuitive purpose, and heart-centered living. And I'm super honored to have you back here with me to talk about this particular project. You know, what was funny is before I started getting ready for the interviews with you and your authors, I had to chuckle because there's a class I've been taking, and the woman is very particular about ritual. And so for weeks now, I have actually noticed the profound effect that sacred rituals have had, like in my own life. And so now I get to ask you guys all these awesome questions about it. But it's not just the big events that we think of, like weddings, funerals, right? It can be in the purposeful intention and energy that we put into our morning cup of coffee. It could be little, right? So I want you to start this off with, like, what has that meant in your life in
Yeah.
maybe smaller ways?
I love that that's where we're starting. I think in our book writing journey, Mark is my husband, Mark and I have for years been working on a book that I think will follow this book that is about exactly that. And it's based on the concept of, what if it matters how we drink our coffee? What if it matters what we do when we're standing in the shower? What if it matters how we set up our desk and how we create beauty in our lives? What if those things matter because they change how we feel about everything? They change how we place intention and how we manifest the life experience that we want. What if we don't have to find more time to make life sacred because everything we do can be sacred simply because we say so and we enact those things in a sacred way?
Yeah, what if? I love that. Yes, and those are some of the things that I've been working on. The class is a feng shui class, but it's inner and outer intention and energy. And one of my small examples is a room that I've been working on, literally simply the dining room. But curating your space and coming into that space every morning for my cup of coffee and my journaling, there's literally a different vibration. That's what I want to say about that. What else
Yeah.
do you want to add to that?
I wrote in the book about an incident that really kind of set me on the kind of opened my eyes to how simply the things that we do all the time can be turned into ritual experiences. I was in a Native American church ceremony. We were there until after midnight. At the end of the evening, there was a young man who had come in by bus, and we stayed in circle late at night, and he wasn't able to take the bus home. And so I said, if you want to come and stay at the house, you can sleep on the couch, you can lay on the floor, whatever it is, but you can come and stay at the house, and I'll take you to the bus station in the morning. So he had a bedroll with him. He came to the house, he laid it out. I noticed as he did it that he was kind of, everything had a place. He was very finicky about how, and I noticed it, but I didn't really stop to consider it. And when I got up in the morning, about maybe 6:30, went to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, and I noticed as I walked by that he had rolled everything up nice and neat, tied it with a colorful ribbon, and he was standing out on my porch, on the big back porch. He was standing on the porch, and I walked out there and just jokingly said to him, "Could you please, when my kids get up, teach them how to make their bed?" and, And he laughed and he said, one of my elders reminded me that our bed is the place that we lay our body to go into the dream time. It's a very sacred place. So when you make your bed, you pray to hold the sacredness of the bed that you're laying in. When you open the bed to go into it, you now have set this intention. You know that your bed is this very safe place, because we go off and we astral travel. We go out into the dream world when we're in there. And it has been life-changing to me. There has not been a day, not one, since that happened. And that includes camping, that includes anywhere I am. There is a bed, being in a hotel, anywhere. There's not been a day since that time that I haven't made the bed, because it's such a powerful thing for me to hold that as safe place for divine connection. And those it's not hard. It's not hard work. It's a very easy. We do it anyway. Let's make the bed anyway. It's not a big deal, but it's a very big deal.
Yes. So we're starting to talk a little bit about the power of this. I kind of want to back up now to the bigger why for the book. Mm-hmm. Give me a little bit of that.
So I've been a minister since 1996. It was a really long time. And I have worked in all kinds. I work in an interfaith capacity, and I have had the opportunity to work with tribal leaders, with ministers, with people who run sanghas, with people who run synagogues, with people who run cathedrals all over the world. I have worked with people of so many different faiths. And what I have learned is that those people who go through seminary training so often receive a packet of ceremonies. So they know how to do a wedding, they know how to do a funeral, they know how to do a baby blessing. They might have gotten something for house blessing, but it's a template. Fill in the blank, write the people's names. We're speaking it. I'm picking it up like any book. I'm reading what's in there. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. You don't have to be a minister to know those words, because they're written down for someone. That is very different than creating a ceremony, a rite, or a ritual that moves a person in a transformative way through life. So I wrote this book originally for healers, intuitives, and spiritual leaders, because I want those people to have the tools that allow them, in a world that is incredibly chaotic and challenging, I want them to have tools that allow them to move people through ending relationships and changing jobs and dealing with trauma. And there just are so many different levels in which thoughts and prayers are not enough anymore. We see it all the time. Yeah, another tragedy in the world. We don't really care anymore about thoughts and prayers. So what? But ritual is a different thing. It's a very different thing, and it moves us in a very different way. It moves us to the core of our soul, and we need that. And that's why elders and spiritual leaders have used ritual. Real people who have really done this work have done this for as far back as humanity can remember. We've had medicine men and wise women who helped us move through really amazingly challenging times. These are the tools we need for the time that we live in.
I love that we're breathing some life into that again. It's so important. Feels like it died a little along the way. Mm-hmm. And now I know for sure this book is bringing that back, and it's going to put so many different kinds of ideas into people's heads. You were just making the list, and I wanted to say, and make the bed. And, I love that so much. You don't even know. I love that one. Well, okay, listen, you've been leading your community and communities of people, and you've been holding a space for healing for so many people, Ahriana. Tell me more about that. Like, how did you even get to the point of doing what you do for your bigger community?
It's funny that you asked that. I was having a conversation yesterday with my son, who is he just graduated from college, and we just got on the phone. I just wanted to check in with him, and we ended up in a very deep spiritual conversation about archetypes and how archetypes are related to the life that we live and what we do with them and all of this stuff. And in the process of that, it kind of took me back to where I started, and my very early understanding goes all the way back to, single digit years in my life when I was just incredibly active in the Catholic Church. My mother is an amazing woman, and we lived in Alaska for a while, and we were walking from our homestead out to the mailbox, which is about 2 miles through the woods on a sled. I was a little bitty girl, probably 4 or 5. And she talked to me about God all the time. And I asked her on that day, Mom, where is God? And she explained to me that God is in everything. God is in that tree. God is in that moose. God is in that rock. God is in all the people you meet. God is in everything. And that understanding has shaped how I look at life. Today, I wouldn't say God. I would say spirit, universe, the great mystery, the universal energy. I would use a different language, but I've spent my entire life understanding that we are all connected to one thing, and that when we heal ourselves, we heal each other. And when we heal someone else, when we work with them on their healing, we receive healing as well. That the only thing that I can say about that, Laura, is that it's so deeply entrenched in me. It's cellular that I understand that. So Catholicism is full of beautiful ceremonies and candles and incense and music and certain songs for certain things and certain prayers for certain things and all of that. I was born into ceremony. Catholicism did not stay with me as my path. There are lots of reasons, and they're not significant for today's conversation, but I was born into a faith that gave me a vision of what is possible when we make life ceremony. And I loved it there. I loved everything I experienced in the Catholic Church in terms of the ceremony of it. And so when I moved from that, I looked for faith traditions that were tied to sacred ceremony, and spent a lot of time in earth-based traditions, in pre-Christian European traditions, pagan traditions, a lot of time in traditions that honor elements, honor all life, that are animistic or panentheistic. And no matter what you believe about any of that, the ceremonial part, the finding the beauty of life, the moving yourself through a gate of transformation, that happens in every single faith. In every faith tradition, there is some threshold we cross. We cross the threshold to get married, right? Not just the threshold on your house, which is a great ritual by itself, but the threshold between I'm a single person, I'm no longer single, I've joined my heart with another person. There's a threshold there. And rites and rituals are all about the thresholds of life and how we cross them intentionally and powerfully.
Okay, you totally skipped ahead and answered the next question, which was going to be what's the most important thing about sacred ceremony? What do you want people to know about it? So I want to pause on maybe the threshold, but I kind of want to rewind to what you said about seeing the beauty in all of life, because again, getting back to those little moments, and you're giving me the beautiful visual of your walk to the mailbox, because for me, nature is that connection. And you mentioned the elements. What do you want to say about that, seeing the beauty?
Sure.
Yeah.
So first of all, I will say to you that I am aware that the universe, the divine, the great mystery, again, how there are 1,000 ways we could speak to this oneness energy. I am aware that that energy is relational, that I am in communication with it all the time. It's with me all. I am never without it. It flows through me, as me, and is how I interact. So So I'm locked into that all the time, which means I pay attention to what crosses my path. If it's a butterfly, if it's a particular stone, if the wind blows a certain way, whatever that means to me in the moment, I pay attention to that as though it was spirit reaching out to me and saying, hey, tap on the shoulder. I'm still here. How you feeling today? Because it gives me that. How am I feeling? Wonder what that little creature is doing. Wow. I love the way the wind feels blowing through my hair. So it's a choice to walk through life with that kind of attention. It's not something that we're naturally born doing, most of us. It's a choice to walk through life looking for the beauty, looking for the aliveness, looking for the holy, to show up, to be more than just guide. We tend to look at like totem animals and things are there to guide us, but there's also this piece that's like, hello, friend. My friend, Dr. Thomas Ord, teaches relational theology. And he told me a story about just that he grew up paying attention to the animals. And he told me this story about being in the woods and having a coyote come and sit next to him. And that his response when he turned and looked at it was, hello, friend. And I just thought, not crap, there's a coyote next to me, but hello, friend. How is life more beautiful when we really understand that all of it is gifting us all the time? We're always being gifted.
Yeah, that's a little goosebumpy. I think it was one of your other authors in one of the interviews said, I pay attention to the snails. And I loved that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, go snails.
Because these little things, these very little things that we see, what if it's not by accident? What if they're, and again, sometimes I do think, because I'm actually reaching out into nature and saying, show me, help me work through this problem. Give me an answer, help me work through this. Sometimes I reach into nature for that. But what if nature is befriending us in all of its beauty? What if the butterflies who hit your yard want to get to know you? What if the hummingbirds that happen to come through chose to be there? What if it's the way God is touching your heart? It's not by accident. And here's the thing. You can look at me and go, Ahriana, you are crazy. First of all, who has time to pay attention to all that stuff? But I'll tell you what, friends, my life is blessed by all of this. You have the opportunity to walk with the blessing that you are seen and touched and loved by the universe, that the universe loves you so much it wants to show up in your life. And that is a really amazing place to be. And ritual brings opportunities for more of that. So you asked me about elements. In that was a while ago, going back to earth-based traditions. Earth-based traditions understand elements as living energies. The energy that is water that will flow through, that cannot be contained. It will create its own path. It will break down rock. It's a powerful force and also a tender, gentle, trickling, singing voice in your ear when you're sitting next to the right creek. Immense power and energy of water as a living thing. All of that capacity reflects the capacity that we have to be fierce, to break down the walls of destruction between us or disagreement between us, to trickle through life, to laugh, to giggle, to have a soft voice, to be pleasant in each other's ears. That if we look at that element as a living thing, it reflects back to us all the different ways that we can be in life, and we reflect the same to it. So the same is true if you're watching a fire, working with the fire, you're working with air, you're working with the earth, the solidity and stability of the earth. And when you begin to look at all of that and the deep connection to that, you can use those elemental energies to set intention, to really be part of your manifesting process. And that's ancient technology. That's not something that, Ariana just dreamed up, or so and so put, it's not a new book out on the market. I didn't write about anything that is, we've never heard this before. I wrote about the things that our ancestors knew. And all of us have tribal ancestors. We all do. There were not cities at one point. we were living in tribes at one point. So these energies are powerful, and we can use them, and we can help people with them still today.
Yes, fully agreed with what of the things I've been learning too about the elements. And oh man, we could talk about that one all day long. You're making me visualize the cycle and what I've learned about the balance and the yin and yang of that. And we could go on and on. It's so powerful. Oh my goodness. So you brought in a stellar author cast. Is there any message you want to give to them today?
Oh my gosh. So first of all, when I started doing this, I was looking for people whose stories I wanted to get. This book gives you enough information to understand how rituals work. And I wanted to be able to say, this is what you need to know. And if you don't believe it will work, ask all of these people. Here are their stories, their real life stories about how ritual transformed them. So I sent a note out to people I thought might be interested and said, tell me if you have a sacred yes. Not just a yes. Oh yeah, let's write a book with Ahriana. No, I'm looking for the sacred yes, the one that is, I'm supposed to be in this book. And these people who showed up are exactly what I asked the universe for. They're people who brought forth stories about not just, a little wedding ceremony I had, but people who talk about sexual abuse, about suicide, about physical domestic violence, and also about the beautiful side of using rites and rituals to raise your children, moving yourself through rites and rituals as you cross different age thresholds, being involved in retreats and events, and how ritual in large groups has been transformative. And people who have danced with the different energies of the earth, who've really danced through this kind of ceremonial energy. These stories are so deep and real and profound. And I think, Laura, one of the great gifts that you give, and it's in the title of your company, is that, you are calling people to be brave, to really put their work on paper, like take it out of your heart and turn it into words. It's right there. Don't just write what's here. Really come down and write what's alive in your heart. And these authors have gifted us with amazing inspiration. When I say all of those things, that like these are really tough, like they're dealing with some really tough topics, but they're expressing with hope and with clarity how they have been transformed and how you can transform the most challenging aspects of life using rites and rituals. And we need that message in the world. We need to know that these rites and rituals as technology, as tools, can help us to move through things that we don't know how to process, that don't get processed very well in our modern world. We don't process trauma very well. We really don't, because we think we have to do 25 years of therapy. And I have done therapy. I am not against therapy in any way. For some of us, there's a point where therapy isn't quite making it. And when we get to that, this is another tool to try. It may be the tool for you, it may not, but it is a tool to try.
No doubt. So I know you have a thing or two going on besides this amazing book. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody about your company and what you're up to?
First, I want to say I talked a lot about this book being for people who are clergy, healers, intuitives, spiritual educators. I want to say to you, for the very reason that we began with, because your daily ritual is really important. This is a book for everybody. It will be very specifically helpful for people who are working every day in service to the world. But as an individual, I invite you to read it. It will change how you perceive life, how you perceive some of the very simple things in life, and it will give you an invitation to look at life differently. I'm the founder of a soulfulworld.com. Soulful World is a spiritual community that really essentially does three different things. We support community healers, we support community seekers, and we support ceremonialists. So if you are on your spiritual growth path, you would go to a Soulful World to find out where you can get what kind of classes you can take from our curated faculty. We have a faculty of teachers who do amazing work. We have a library available in our inner circle of all kinds of teachings. Then you can kind of set up your own spiritual curriculum through all of that. If you're a business owner, a spiritual educator, spiritual healer, any of that, you can go into that same inner circle program and take advantage of a business library that helps you to understand the business of spirituality is not the same as secular business. We are guided by our hearts, we're guided by spirit, we're guided by our intuition. We sometimes don't do a great job with the practicalities of business. You can get information about the practicalities as well as information about working with your intuition and all of those things that are spiritually natured. And then for those people who read a book like this and say, I really want to do this. I really want to understand how to write this ritual, how to use these tools. I want somebody to take me by the hand and walk me through so I can do this well. We have a master ceremonial certification program that is a 12-month program that will take you really from A to Z. And when you walk out of that, you'll be certified as a ceremonialist. Then you go out and you have to pass the test for that. And at the end of the year, of your first year of service, you will complete certain steps that you have to do out in your ceremonial work. And if you complete those works, then we'll move you into master ceremonialist status. So this is not a thing for somebody who just goes, oh yeah, that sounds kind of interesting. This is a real educational process that will move you into master ceremonialist status if your heart is there and your willingness is there.
That's exciting. Oh my goodness, yes. Okay. You guys, rites and rituals, harnessing the power of sacred ceremony. Ahriana, what are your last words for our viewers today? What's that one thing you want to leave them with?
You're already doing things that you could infuse with intention and change your life. You're already doing things every day. It doesn't take more time. It takes thinking. And I'll give you a really simple example. You can stand in the shower every day, and as the water comes over you, simply ask that anything that doesn't serve you today is washed away. Whether you're doing it in the morning to start your day or you're doing it at the end of the day before you go to bed, whatever doesn't serve you, allow the energy of water to release it from you. It's a very simple practice. You're going to stand in the shower anyway. So you get to stand in the shower and think about what you didn't do today, what you should do tomorrow, what's on your agenda, what you're going to be thinking. It takes no more energy and no more time to live a sacred life than it does to not live a sacred life. So make your life holy and beautiful. Be intentional about it. You are the creator of your own experience.
Reverend Dr. Ahriana Platten, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
My pleasure.
So, you guys, I know that something Ahriana said probably gave you the goosebumps. Maybe you're curious, maybe you need some support. So just drop on down to the show notes where I have her websites hooked up and you can connect with her and really this bigger community. Once the book comes out, you all are invited for our book launch party so that you can meet the author cast. That's going to be on February 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And that'll be on Zoom and also on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. So you can get all of the information down below for that as well. And if you happen to be listening to this anytime around that date or after, well, hop over to Amazon at that point, because that means the book is ready for you. And lastly today, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you guys next time.